know what I'm excited about, Jeff? I'm excited that you finally watched Interstellar. Thank goodness. It's about time.
I did.
Save that gold material
For what?
for when the show has started.
That was Kyle starting the show.
I started.
Oh, was it?
Start it, you jerk.
Okay. All right, well, we're going. We're off to the races. Jeffrey has repented of his sins, and he's come to the altar. Step into the confessional, my son. Tell us about your experience.
The experience was good. I thought it was great. I cried, which is not something I typically do at movies outside of the movie Up.
Wait, which part? Which
I cried at the end.
Which part of Up did you cry at?
Oh, the very beginning.
Of course.
All right.
There's only one part that you really would cry in movie Up, I think. But
but the bird. What about the bird when it dies?
that means nothing to me.
Kevin.
Okay, so you cried at the end of Interstellar. So give us your take.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was, so one of the comments that we brought up in our episode on The Martian was we talked a little bit about whether or not Matt Damon was better in The Martian or Interstellar. Hands down, he was better in The Martian. I'm just going to throw that out there and get that one out of the way. I thought he was.
Was that even something
good.
we discussed? I think we were discussing whether the movie was better.
We did, yeah. That was the.
It's clear that Matt Damon was better in The Martian than he was.
Oh, okay.
In Interstellar.
Maybe I might be misremembering that, but regardless, he was way better in The Martian. But I thought it was good. I thought acting was superb across the board. I thought the story was great. I thought there were just enough twists and turns to keep you excited for a pretty long movie. I thought it was really good. I mean, it's another winning Nolan film, right? Like it had all those notes of mystery and intrigue and great acting, unique storytelling. I thought it was fantastic, and just kind of leaving you at the end with a little bit, as Nolan movies tend to do, leaving you on a little bit of a cliff in terms of what's going to happen next and how things are going to progress with the fate of humanity, since they're all just sitting on this, on this station outside of Saturn. They're not actually through the wormhole or anything yet. There's still that question of, are they going to make it and everything, sort of. So I thought it was good, and it left you on a good note, and it was really fun.
Where would you rank it in the Nolan pantheon?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
So I'm here, folks.
Yeah, it's up at the top. You're catching me a little off guard, and I sat down and actually created a list for this. I might be able to speak a little bit more intelligently as to which one's my favorite and which one.
Do you know what your favorite Nolan movie is?
I don't even know if I do. I like a lot of Nolan films. So I'm partial to some of the Batman stuff, but especially The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Knight was just fantastic.
Let's just put that at one and compete for number 2.
Well, and then there's Inception, which I thought was really, really good, and Interstellar's probably up in that area as well. Those are probably 3 of my top ones. I know those are very popular ones, and there's a couple other lesser known Nolan flicks.
Memento. Don't forget Memento.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Memento.
I've never seen it.
This might be a fun one to even dig into for a whole episode.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe we should save it and we should talk about some of that stuff at another time. But
I had a question about you crying at the end. Why did you cry at the end? You mean the scene that shows her just chilling on that planet?
No, not that far at the end. I'm talking about when he meets his daughter again.
Murph. That part.
Yeah. Well, it's the last 5 minutes in a 2.5
he says
hour.
Murph like a million times in that movie.
There's a great YouTube video, just the Murphs, and it is 2.5 minutes long.
But yeah, when he sees his daughter again at the end, that was emotional.
What about when he sees her in the video chat and she's explaining things and he just is breaking down?
That's the part that got me, I think. When he sees her grown up and it's only been like a minute for him.
Yeah, that is so powerful. That weeping scene.
Yeah, I actually thought the part where the son was talking about, hey, here's your granddaughter and all this other stuff, and then he talks about how the granddaughter died. That actually to me was more emotional than him seeing Murph grown up, personally.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Well, so that's my update. But Kyle, you've got an update too, right?
I do have an update.
You finally picked a TV show to watch from beginning to end?
Yeah, and the number of seasons may have something to do with it. I'm just going to put that out there because I need that. I need a low season count as far as what I'm going to commit to. So with that said, I'm going to do Daredevil. There are only 2 seasons. I thought the pilot was just really suspenseful and action-packed. I loved the legal drama combined with him being a vigilante, and I think it'll be a good one for me. I think it'll be a good pick. You guys recommend it, right?
Definitely.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but
I think it's good.
Yeah,
I'm sensing
I'm watching season 2 right now.
I'm sensing that I made a bad choice though. Why am I sensing that? My Kyle sense is tingling.
Well, you didn't pick like the most prestigious TV show on the list as far as, the history of TV shows, but it's a very good, entertaining pick. I mean, you're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited
that's
to hear what you think about it.
That's what I was going for. Entertaining, something that will keep me interested and engaged for the long haul, because 2 seasons that's a lot. It's a lot of television. I think if I were to commit to something like The Walking Dead or a 5-season show, I don't think I'd be able to last and get through to the end. And I want to. I want to finish. I want to finish Daredevil. That's what I'm going to do. The only thing that bothers me is the girl. Does she stay throughout? Is she a thing? She die?
She's super important.
Okay. Maybe she'll grow on me. Important like she dies? Important?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
All right.
Are you actually hoping that she dies, Cal?
I'm not hoping she dies. Maybe just moves on, leaves him, says, I can't be with you, it's too dangerous for me. Or maybe he says that to her. Just something great like that.
Just give it time, Kyle. You've only seen one episode. You haven't seen the glory that character goes through.
You're right. I love that Home Alone guy isn't that Home Alone guy? No. Mighty Ducks. That's right.
Yeah.
I thought he was Buzz.
Foggy.
I thought he was Buzz from Home Alone, but no, he's the Mighty Ducks guy. I love him. I think he's great.
We've officially gone off the rails in the last 2 minutes out. So, Michael, we've talked about me watching Interstellar. Kyle finally picked a TV show to watch. Anything you've been enjoying recently?
Yeah, so there are a couple things that I wanted to bring up. So have you guys heard of or seen Eye in the Sky?
No.
Heard
of it, yes. Helen Mirren, right?
Yeah, Helen Mirren, Aaron Paul. You haven't watched Breaking Bad, so you don't know who that is, but
I do too.
Another thing that Kyle will not understand for a while.
This is Severus Snape's last final performance before he passed.
Oh, wow.
The late great Alan Rickman.
Rest in peace.
So a couple cool people, but basically it's about drones, and the movie centers around the British and U.S. governments working together to potentially eliminate a target somewhere in Africa, and all of the people that are involved in that decision, and a lot of the people that are influenced by it. So that goes people on the ground, the people, the bystanders, and the people on the British side who are making decisions, the people on the US side who are making decisions, the drone pilots themselves. It just kind of shows how this whole infrastructure is put together, and all the complexity and stickiness of war, and what goes into making a determination like this. So it's a fascinating movie, really interesting portrayal of modern warfare, and it's surprisingly touching, and just it's extremely well done. I think it's in limited release. If you have the chance to see it, I think it's very much worth seeing. So far for this year, I think it's in my top 3. Definitely see Eye in the Sky. And then Demolition is another movie that I've seen recently that I really, really like. My boy Jake Gyllenhaal. Neither of you have seen that.
That's right. This is the one where his wife passes away, right? And he's dealing with it.
Yeah, it's like a deconstruction of grief. It's a man in the grieving process. His wife dies. He doesn't really know how to handle it. He, realizes that he didn't really know her, that he didn't maybe love her, and it's a really, really good movie. It's directed by the guy who did Wild and Dallas Buyers Club. Didn't get stellar reviews. I really liked it. And then finally, if you guys aren't watching Broad City, oh my gosh, Broad City, one of the funniest shows on TV right now.
This one has been not on my queue simply because there's so much other good TV going on. Does this need to bump above anything like Modern Family or Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes to all of those. Broad City is better than all of those, in my opinion.
Interesting. Okay.
And I like Modern Family. I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I haven't really stayed current with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think I watched the first season of that and kind of stopped. But Broad City, it's a female-driven comedy. It's kind of young 20-somethings
Gotcha.
in New York.
That kind of broad.
It's maybe a little crass. It's a little bit on the crude side at times. It's on Comedy Central, but they are so funny, and it is a brilliant show. Besides this and one other thing that I mentioned, I think it's one of the funniest things on TV right now.
Well, guys, you want to jump into the topic of the day?
So the basic idea is that books are hard to read and that we all have things to do in our life. And so we want to have an episode come out every week, and we like getting together and talking about stuff. But we think putting up a review of a new book adaptation, movie adaptation that we've all three read, all three watched, and can really discuss properly, doing one of those each week is probably a little too much. So our goal for those are once every other week. And so for the off weeks where we're not doing a review, we're going to be doing something like what we're doing now, kind of a chat episode that'll be topical. We will maybe discuss books that haven't been adapted. We'll discuss movies and TV shows that we're watching and reading and getting into. And yeah, did I just say that we're reading TV shows? Anyway, so there'll be lots of different things and topics that we'll bring up, but these are more free-for-alls, not a specific review, but a chance for us to kind of talk about stuff that we're interested in and that hopefully you guys are going to enjoy as well.
Today, we're going to talk about the 5 movies we are most excited about for 2016.
Woohoo! 2016!
I think we should go in reverse order. What do you guys think?
What if we start with honorable mentions? Get, some of the other movies out of the way that aren't making our top 5, but that we're excited about.
Sure. Let's do it.
Kyle, you go.
Yeah, I can go. Let me go first. Star Trek Beyond. I cannot wait to see Justin Lin's interpretation and basically see Fast and Furious in space.
Oh my gosh, that is every reason why I'm not excited for that.
What?
It really hurts
so
me to say
cool.
that because I really love Star Trek and I also have enjoyed the 2 J.J. Abrams movies, but that pains me. That first trailer was really bad.
Well, what's too bad is that they bring J.J. Abrams in to revamp it and relaunch it, and he does a successful job, and then they hand it off to other directors. I'm a little worried that Star Wars may follow in a similar path.
Man, you're opening up a can of worms there.
They're
I'm just
handled
saying.
totally differently, though, Kyle. I mean, the amount of people that are having gloves all over Star Wars to make sure that it's done right is very different, seemingly, from what they've done with Star Trek. Because even the second J.J. Abrams version of the Star Trek franchise, Star Trek Into Darkness, is that what the full title was?
Yeah,
Into
Star Trek
Darkness.
Into Darkness.
Even
Trek
that
Into
movie
Darkness.
was not great. I
Wasn't
mean,
great.
I think there are things where J.J. Abrams did interesting stuff in the Star Trek universe that made it fun again for a lot of people, but it wasn't necessarily his best work, especially that second one.
No, the first one
I'd
was
agree
so
with that.
good. The first one was great.
The first one is so good. The second one is so. The third one is something. I was really hoping that it would be more Star Trek-y, because the first 2 movies, as much fun as they are, they don't do a lot of exploring. They're not on their 5-year mission. So I was really hoping after the end of Into Darkness that this third one would be, like them on their 5-year mission, and it would be like an actual Star Trek movie. And, it seems like they just went straight to destroying the Enterprise again. And now...
Yep.
I guess there's a little bit of exploring. They're on a new planet, but
yeah,
it just doesn't feel like Star Trek to me.
Well, and
to be fair, it's just one teaser trailer.
Yeah,
the movie
it's
could
just
be
one
nothing
trailer.
like that. So we haven't seen the movie. It could be awesome. I hope that it's awesome. I hope that maybe the second trailer will show us something different. And one other. And I'll just say, for Star Wars, they picked Rian Johnson for Episode 8. He is amazing.
He's good.
So that's obviously going to be amazing as well.
I was still
Case
disappointed
closed.
when I found out it wasn't going to be J.J. Abrams. I don't know what naive assumption I was under, thinking that he was just going to do them all, but I was under it, and
Well,
I was so crushed.
I mean, it was a lose-lose proposition for him. He made his decision really smartly, I think, because if Episode 7 was a big flop and nobody liked it, then nobody would have wanted him to do the sequel. Since it did so well, he's able to go out on top and not have to, worry about expectations. If he was doing the next one, then it would always just be comparing and, he did better the first time.
Which is what we just did with Star Trek.
Exactly. So he knows how that works.
He
He's
learned his
bowing out.
lesson. Bow out.
Rather than have a 10-minute conversation on each of our honorable mention ones, do you guys want to go through the rest of them real quick?
That was my only one.
Okay, Michael, what honorable mentions do you have?
I would put Passengers. Do you guys know what that one is?
Never heard of
I
it.
saw something on that one.
Did you guys see Imitation Game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's the guy who directed Imitation Game, and he is directing a Blacklist script and it's basically Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence in space. They're on this, long mission where everyone is in cryo sleep, and Chris Pratt accidentally wakes up. And so he wakes up Jennifer Lawrence, and it's just the two of them. That's kind of all I know. But I'm really excited about that.
What does the Blacklist script mean?
This might be a tangent.
Explain it.
The Blacklist is basically a list of the highest ranked unproduced screenplays in Hollywood. So like all the people in Hollywood that deal with this stuff, they give their ranking of their favorite unproduced scripts, and the ones that get the most votes get put higher on the thing. I mean, so I can't remember when it started exactly, sometime in the last 10 years, I think. But it's now kind of a prestigious thing to have your script be on the Blacklist. I mean, so
cool. I get it.
So that's exciting.
All right, fun.
This might be jumping the gun a little bit. Rogue One is one of my honorable mentions. It's not in my top 5.
Wow.
Doctor Strange is one of my honorable mentions. X-Men Apocalypse is one of my honorable mentions. And then there's a movie called The Accountant with Ben Affleck that I'm really excited about.
That one shows a lot of promise. It's got a good cast, at least. We've seen no trailer to date, correct?
Oh, Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, no trailer, but it also has a really good director. Have you guys seen Warrior with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton?
Yes. Gavin O'Connor.
So it's the same. It's the guy who directed that. So that, gives me some excite for that. I also just love me some Affleck. Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, there's also Warcraft. There is Girl on the Train.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good stuff coming out this year. Okay, but those are my honorable mentions. Jeff, did you have some?
So I only have one honorable mention. It could have snuck its way up into my top 5, and that's Suicide Squad, which I know you've got on your list somewhere. The reason Suicide Squad is not in my top 5 is just because if it's like the last trailer that they released that was before Batman vs Superman, which we have not debriefed on yet, we'll hold that for another episode. But if it's like that last trailer, I think it could be really, really good and really fun. The only thing is I've heard that trailer is somewhat misleading as to the
content,
the energy and content of the movie. I like that trailer is more funny and lighthearted than the rest of the movie seemingly is. And so
You're just doing this now, huh, Jeff? You're just bringing us into it.
No, we can talk about it when you get to it. Let me just say, I am enthusiastic for what that movie could be.
Okay, we'll talk about that soon enough. Jeff, since you're going, why don't you give us your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is Nice Guys.
Yeah,
yes.
Mine too.
So this is the movie with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. A little bit of tit for tat between the two of them in the trailer. Should be really interesting. It looks like it's going to be a kind of a combo action comedy. Written and directed by Shane Black, who I think is great, has done really, really solid work over the course of his career. So I'm excited to see what comes out of that one. The hype so far has been really, really good.
I feel like Ryan Gosling is playing a character that if I had grown up and been a spy or detective in that era, that's who I would be, because he just seems kind of to bumble through everything, and his scream, the way he screams, not saying I scream like a girl, but I kind of do scream like a girl like that. But that's what I feel like I'll really relate to his character when I watch that.
Yeah, it's basically you. He's
me.
Basically playing you.
With my tough buddy, Russell Crowe, just backing me up. Yeah, I love Ryan Gosling.
I will say the one thing that has me slightly nervous about this and why it's not a little bit higher up my list is because Russell Crowe has been known to mail in movies in the past. This one doesn't look like it at all, and so I think I'm highly enthusiastic, but there's just that little lingering thought.
Mail-in movies.
Kyle, I don't know if you've got any additional commentary on that since it's your number 5 as well.
I just don't know what mail-in movies means. I'm looking that up.
Like he's giving a half-hearted performance.
Oh, yes. No way. He looks like he's having a ton of fun. Ryan's going to bring out the best of him.
I agree.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This one does not seem to be like that, but it's a character trait that I've seen in him a couple times, and so I'm just fingers crossed that he takes this one seriously.
Man, throwing some shade on Russell Crowe, the gladiator himself. I don't know if we can accept this, Jeffrey.
Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about.
Name one movie where he mails it in. Just one.
Hold on, let me pull up IMDb and I will give you 5.
All 5.
Yeah, right. Master and Commander, he's a ship captain. Body of Lies, he's a duplicitous spy. No mailing it in there.
How about A Good Year? Blah.
Never seen it.
There you go.
Never seen it, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't count.
So Robin Hood, I don't think he was great. I don't think he was great in Robin Hood. Les Mis, I thought he was a disaster.
Robin Hood was terrible. Les Mis.
He was Javert in Les Mis, and he
I
was
know.
probably,
How did we not think of that immediately when I asked you that question?
Because he was amazing.
What about Noah? What about Noah?
Noah. We were just talking about Noah.
We
Okay.
were talking about that
He just
before we
wiped
hit record.
out the whole
Let's
planet,
hear
so-
Michael's number 5.
Let me just say, spoiler alert, Nice Guys is on my list a little bit higher than number 5.
Just
and
slightly.
I'm so excited for it. So
Okay.
guess we'll just leave it at that.
Do you just want to chime in now why you're so excited, or do you want to wait? You want to?
let me just go in now.
Do
so
it.
we don't, bring it up different times. Shane Black is one of my favorites. Have you guys seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
Mm-mm.
Yep, it's good.
I mean, so I love that kind of stuff. It's just the kind of movie that I love genre wise. Like I love the humor. I love Shane Black's writing. I love the witty back and forth. I love the way he deconstructs genre. I mean, because he's made his career writing these kind of buddy cop action movie kind of things, but he always has an interesting twist on them. I mean, so he wrote Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
He wrote The Last Boy Scout. He's done a lot of cool stuff, and there's definitely a pattern to his work, and I just love it all. So I'm really excited for this one.
Wow, that's great. I didn't know he did the Lethal Weapons. Okay, I'm moving it up. No, it's 5 still.
What? Okay, so
I'm just kidding.
So
it's
what's your number 5, Michael?
my number 5 is Captain America: Civil War. So I think that is also both of your number 4s.
No,
or
wrong.
At least on your list somewhere.
Yeah, that's my 3.
And Jeff, that's your number 4.
Yeah, it's my number 4. So we can go from you to me on this one.
Okay, I mean, so I don't know. There's really not a lot to say. It looks amazing. I've heard the early reviews are really, really positive. I've listened to a couple of things from people that have seen it that's gotten me even more excited. Everybody's saying that Spider-Man is amazing. Everybody's saying that basically everything Batman v Superman didn't quite get right, that Civil War does get right.
That's good praise so far.
In the sense that the conflict between the two main characters is very organic and essential to who they are.
Wow.
And doesn't feel forced, and that there's a lot of fun, surprising moments. I mean, I think it looks amazing. Love the Russo brothers. Loved what they did with Winter Soldier.
Yes.
I am very excited for this movie.
Totally with you. So you enumerated several of the things I'm excited for. I completely agree with you on Winter Soldier. I thought it was fantastic. I think that these guys get the characters. They can do really good work with them. I'm a little cautious because Civil War was one of my favorite storylines in the Marvel universe over the last long time. I got back into comic books a little bit while I was in college, and I own the actual day one issues of the Civil War. As they came out, I picked them up, and also picked up the follow-up stuff in the Captain America line. And I love this story. I think it's really good. The problem for me is that they changed it. And I don't know if I'm going to like how they changed it. I think it's going to hold more or less to the central themes of what they were trying to accomplish. But I know it's certainly not going to be explicitly the same disagreement and everything, because you've got players in the comic that are just non-existent in the movie, and that's fine.
Yeah, well, that are just not existent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They can't use X-Men, they can't use Fantastic Four, they're not using Punisher and Daredevil, from
Right.
the TV shows and the movies.
Well, and some of the really big moments in Civil War that kind of drive the emotion in the comic book, like some of that is those really big name characters in the comics. One or two of them get killed, and it totally changes the game for everybody. And they can't do that same thing, and so it's going to be a little different. I'm crazy excited for them to introduce Black Panther. I think that movie, whenever that comes out, that goes really through his origin or whatever it's going to be, is going to be really, really good. That's a lesser known character who I think is extremely powerful and interesting. I'm glad he's in this, and I'm glad that they're bringing in Ant-Man and finally bringing Spider-Man over to the Marvel U, which gets me really excited because Marvel hopefully will get Spider-Man right when Sony's done it wrong-ish for 5 movies.
Which are they going back to do a Black Panther backstory, origin story, or are they going to do that in this movie?
I don't know. So I don't think they're going to do the full origin story in this movie. I think they're going to introduce him and do some things. And I don't know that the whatever movie they do with him is going to be a full on origin, but it'll probably cover more of his history and actually take place in Wakanda and Africa and stuff like that.
And they're not doing a Spider-Man. Oh, sorry. Finish about Black Panther.
Well, I was just going to say, he's introducing this movie. It's not a full origin, but it's origin-y-ish.
Right.
And I mean, this is just a deduction you can make based on what we know, but there are parts of Age of Ultron that happened in Wakanda, and there was some major destruction and fighting that happened there. I mean, so if I was a betting man, I'd say that we almost have like a opening Batman v Superman type of situation where we're seeing maybe some of that from Black Panther's perspective.
Awesome.
But that
That'd
could be
be neat.
totally wrong.
I think there's a little bit of that. And I think there's also a little bit of history with the Winter Soldier doing some things in Wakanda as well, without giving away too much or ruining it for people like Kyle who don't watch trailers. But
no, I'm avoiding this one. The trailers from now on.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But regardless, I think this one's going to be good. I think it's going to be really fun, and I'm very excited for it.
I ranked it higher. I ranked it at number 3 because I can't wait for there to finally be a foe or a villain who isn't this mass army that can be annihilated once you kill the queen bee or something like that. Like, this is an actual struggle and an actual... Who's the protagonist? Who's the antagonist? You're gonna have to pick sides, and it's real. It's not this made up thing. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also glad that they introduced Ant-Man, and I think one of my favorite parts of Ant-Man was when he fought the Falcon. I thought that was so well done and so cool, and I'm excited to see more of that. I also think there are plenty of superheroes now to do this movie. Any more, it would be way too cluttered. And from the trailers that I have seen, it looks like people pair up and team or pair off well, and they match their powers very well. So that's the reason that I'm totally stoked for this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I have to say, Jeff, I think I'm actually excited about some of the changes they've made. I mean, because if I recall, the Civil War storyline was really just about secret identities and kind of, registering.
Yep, that's right.
Superheroes. I mean, so it looks like they've gone a little bit broader, a little bit deeper than that, as far as oversight and control. And, I think I really like how they're tying it to the Winter Soldier stuff.
Yeah, it's a real conflict.
And they allude to some of the stuff that you're referring to in the comic book as well. It's just not necessarily the way that it's centrally explained if you look at, a Wikipedia page or whatever for it. But it does get into, the potential, Captain America specifically being very concerned about the potential for the government then utilizing knowledge of secret identities and things like that to gain leverage and to control superheroes and their actions and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, the problem in the movie universe, though, is that there aren't a lot of secret identities. Everybody knows who Iron Man is. Everybody knows who Captain America is.
That's actually true. Yeah, with this particular cast, that's totally true.
Yeah, they couldn't do that. Mm-hmm.
Well, Kyle, what's your number 4?
Yeah, my number 4 is Finding Dory. I am totally excited for this sequel. It's probably the Pixar sequel I've ever been excited about. I didn't think Monsters or Cars or besides the Toy Stories, I didn't think any of those sequels were necessary, but I'm so curious who Dory is. She was just underexplained and a side character in the first one, and I can't wait to meet her family. I think it'll help explain a lot about her. So it'll be the feel-good movie of the year for me, and I can't wait.
And I can promise you are not the only one excited.
Millions of children are also excited for it.
But I'm not saying this as a diss on Finding Nemo, but for some reason that is like one of the most popular from child to adult Pixar movies that has ever been made. And so I think there are a lot of people very excited about it.
It's so beautiful. The music, and I'm sure they've improved on the digital imagery, and it was already so good in Nemo. The music was so good. It's just going to bring all that great stuff back. It will bring all that great stuff back. Anyway, let's move on. Obviously, This is not going to spark any discussion or debate, so let's go.
Michael, what's your 4?
Assassin's Creed.
Ooh.
With Michael Fassbender. Fassbender or Fossbender?
Fassbender, I think.
Fassbender. So, I love these games. They're...
Same here.
They're awesome. I've played a bunch of them, and I'm really excited about the way this looks so far. I have a lot of confidence in Michael Fassbender. I think he has great taste. I love the stuff that he attaches himself to, and I know he's a heavy producer on this movie. I've loved the stills that have come out so far. Excited to see a trailer, and I'm excited that they're not adapting one of the storylines from the games, but they're creating a new storyline for the movie, new characters for the movie. So I think all of that is cool. They basically took the cool premise from the games and are just making a new story from it. And I think all of that sounds promising to me, and I'm very excited for it.
I'm with you. I keep saying this. I'm nervous about this one just because it's a video game movie. That's pretty much it. Everything that you said, I completely agree with. I have a lot of hope that this will be good. I love the Assassin's Creed games. I think they're fun. They're not always the best story, but the premise is very unique. And the games, they manage to do really fun things in the games. And so if they can, capture that at all in this movie, I think I'll be a huge fan. So I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, I'm hoping that this will be the one to break the curse. I mean, we've only had one great video game movie before this, Prince of Persia, with my boy Jake Gyllenhaal. So,
not Tomb Raider?
No, Tomb Raider is awful. Both of them are awful. Although, I mean, so this is a tangent too, but they're casting for a new Tomb Raider movie based on the newer of those games, and Daisy Ridley is up, to potentially be young Lara Croft.
Oh, great! I'm in.
Which could be really good. Those games are really awesome as well, the newer ones.
I think that's another storyline that if they can get it right, if they can get the right director and writer attached to it, even a halfway decent actress in that role, it could be a really good movie.
Assassin's Creed.
Fingers crossed that those are good.
This seems like the medieval Zorro. Is that what it is? Just a vigilante?
No.
It kind of is, though.
No, it's not like that at all.
Okay. Are you sure? It looks like it.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. The concept is so cool. I mean, so the basic premise is that you have this big villainous corporation called Abstergo Industries, and they're doing all this research that allows people to use a device called the Animus, which puts you back through your genetic code and stuff into the memories of your ancestors.
What?
So essentially, people are able to go back and relive things from people in their genetic lines so that they can go in the past and find out different information that is pertinent to kind of this war of ideas that's happening in the present. So it's really, really kind of cool because there are two things happening at once. You have the story itself in the past where you're, living through your ancestors' experience, but then everything that you're doing is also focused on information and events that have weight in the present, because there's also a conflict in the present that kind of hinges on what you learn and what happens in the past. So it's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not limited to one single type of tone like a Zorro movie, because they can go into any time period. They've done...
That's convenient.
It is.
It's great.
Very convenient.
That sounds fun.
Anyway, so that's my number 4.
All right, well, let's keep going. My number 3 is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I know that this one, I don't think this is on either of your lists. Right?
No.
Nope.
So I love, I'll be a little shameless in this. I love Harry Potter.
Me too.
I love that universe. I'm very excited
Me
to
too.
revisit that world. I really like that they're bringing things to America and that we're going to see a different side of the wizarding world. The cast looks really good. There's no source material to go on for this book like there is the others. I know it's based off of, I know there is a book called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but it's
the book that this character from this movie ends up writing.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Everything just kind of lines up. I love the feeling of being in the Harry Potter world. I'm excited for all of that. Even if the movie's only slightly better than mediocre, I will probably still love it. So for that, it's my number 3.
I'm really excited about it too, except it just didn't make any of my list. I mean, I'm excited that J.K. Rowling wrote the script for that. And I love Colin Farrell as well. So I'm maybe a little Eddie Redmayne'd out, but I'm good. I'm excited for this.
He's just been everywhere recently. He's been in all kinds of stuff, playing all kinds of unique characters. So,
Jupiter Ascending, he was brilliant in that one.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 3 is Suicide Squad. We've already talked about Kyle's number 3. So Suicide Squad. I don't even know. It's not even on your guys' list, huh?
Nope.
It was my bonus one, so it would probably be number 6 if we went that far.
I guess I'm just a DC fanboy.
You
are
the biggest one ever.
So excited for what they're doing. I love David Ayer. I love End of Watch. Love Training Day. I loved Fury a couple years ago. I think he's an awesome director, and I dig what they're doing. I think it has the potential to be DC's Guardians of the Galaxy. So we'll see.
If they make it fun, though, that's the thing. Is if it's not fun like that last trailer implied it might be, then it won't be. It'll be another slog.
So when I say Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't mean that it'll be, the same tone and fun. I mean that it'll just be very different. It's going to be kind of a surprise. I think people are going to be surprised by it because it's not going to be anything what they're getting in other superhero movies.
It doesn't look like it's going to be a surprise at all. It looks very standard by the book stuff.
There's
to me.
No other superhero movie like this out there.
Where they recruit bad guys to do good stuff?
Yeah.
Or to do
where it's a team of bad guys.
No, there are plenty of those where they let people out of prison. One. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but The Longest Yard.
Yeah,
The Longest Yard. They recruit him to play football. Kind of similar.
There's no other comic book movies from DC or Marvel so far that is like this.
You just equated this to The Longest Yard.
Longest Yard. Same story.
All right. Well, we don't have to go there. I mean, so do you want to disparage the good folks at DC with your reshoots comment so we can just kind of debunk that right away?
If this is not true, then I'll be happy to hear it. But the news has been that because of the popularity of that second trailer, which I have already mentioned, I thought was fantastic and really set a great feel and tone for what this movie could be. The rumor, or at least what's been out there, has been that because it's been so popular, DC went back and they're doing some reshoots to try and inject more of that fun and humor into the movie, because basically that trailer covered the majority of that in that short period. So if tell me I'm wrong, because I would be thrilled, because I want this movie to be good, because there were aspects of that trailer that just got me really excited.
Yeah, you're definitely. Well, which trailer are you talking about? The Queen one?
I'm talking about the one before Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, so there's been one more trailer after that had a lot of other funny stuff too. I mean, so that debunks the point, without even trying to say that all the funny stuff is in that first trailer. Because they released another trailer. No, there was one trailer before that. So that was the third trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but basically, David Ayer himself has come out. He says that Suicide Squad reshoots for humor is silly. When a studio loves your movie and asks what else you want, go for it.
Okay, so it's not related to that.
It's not related to that. I mean, reshoots is a very normal thing. Pretty much every movie does some kind of reshoots, especially these big budget ones.
Yep.
And most of the time you don't hear about it. Most of the time it's not something big and serious. So I think people were just jumping on the fact that Batman v Superman was getting pounded and kind of jumping on the hate train.
I'm happy to hear that, because you're right. These happen all the time. I had just heard that they were very specific as to why, but if that's not the case, then that makes me even more excited, because that buildup I thought was good.
David Ayer could be lying. He could be just sweating bullets over there and praying that his movie works. But, the director himself came out and said that that's not what it was for. So,
okay.
I guess we'll see. We'll see soon enough.
Jai Courtney's in it. He's not my favorite. And there's a girl in it that looks like Pigpen. She's just dirty all the time, or there's a cloud of dust around her. What's up with that? That's weird. Anyway, we can move. We can change stuff. I just had to throw that stuff in there. The Kyle observations.
Yeah, good stuff. I guess number 2, Jeff, your number 2?
My number 2 is Doctor Strange. I'm really excited to see what they do with Stephen Strange. He's a lesser-known Marvel superhero. He's certainly one of the more powerful, that's for sure, and he holds a very lofty place in the Marvel universe. But he's not necessarily one of the top selling comics that comes out of Marvel, partially because of the thematic material. It's a little bit more of the occult and sorcery and things like that. But I'm excited for what that could be. He's a beloved character in my life, in my childhood. I think that Benedict Cumberbatch is a great casting for that role. They got a director that is going to be really interesting for this. He's done Scott Derrickson has done a lot of horror movies that have that occult theme to them. Exorcism of Emily Rose is one example. In some ways, he might be the perfect director coming into this. I'm really interested to see what that is. We did get a chance to look at the trailer this last week. The first trailer was released. I thought it was fantastic. It did have a little bit of the Inception stuff going on with the visuals, which I actually am cool with, because I like that stuff. I thought it was really fun. So we'll see where this goes, but I'm pretty amped up that I think this could be a really good movie, because it seems like they've just gotten so much right up to now in terms of the casting, who they got as a director, the visual look and feel, and all of that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks really good. I mean, this was one of my honorable mentions. I'm excited about this as well. The first trailer is very promising. Love me some Cumberbatch. And
Benedict.
That's pretty much all I gotta say.
Great. Who's next?
You are next, Cal.
Yes, I don't have much to say about Doctor Strange. Don't know anything about him, but it does look very Inception-y and Matrix-y, so it could be good. My number 2 was Rogue One, and I think we already talked about Star Wars? No, we have not. Yeah, Rogue One. I'm excited for another Star Wars movie. I think Episode 7 got me totally amped up. I became obsessed with Star Wars for a good couple weeks after that, which to me is a good sign when I get really obsessed with something like that. And I can't wait to see what they do with this kind of offshoot, side, prequel type of movie, and explain a little bit more of how they're able to do so much in the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, how they got the plans for the Death Star, how they how they got their information. I think that's a really cool idea and a great story. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. This was one of my honorable mentions. I mean, the first trailer looks amazing. The name of the director is blanking.
Gareth Edwards.
I mean, so I really like his stuff. I mean, so I thought he did really well with the Godzilla reboot. I think he has a really good sense of epicness scale that he brings to it. When you look at the visuals of that trailer, and it just feels like a really cool Star Wars universe that he's playing in. I mean, so it has all the stuff you'd expect, but there's just a realness that I'm excited for.
Yeah, I agree. Very real, very less CGI is what I noticed.
I mean, and this is probably something that a lot of other people have talked about, but this kind of thing is why I was so excited that Disney bought Star Wars in the first place. You know, the fact that they're going to be able to just explore other parts of this universe is exciting. I mean, and this is probably pretty close to the original trilogy, obviously, but it speaks well for things to come as far as tone and just what they're going to be able to do with this franchise and just letting great storytellers play in that sandbox.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen without Disney. That is very exciting.
Jeffrey?
I'm biting my tongue for good reason. Go. What's your number 2?
Okay. My number 2 is La La Land. This is a movie with Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. So I got a lot of Gosling on my list. And it's a musical.
Who doesn't?
There's no trailer for this movie. The main reason, besides the two leads, is that it's written and directed by Damien Chazelle. He wrote and directed my favorite movie from a couple of years ago, which was Whiplash. That was a movie that I just absolutely loved, still love. I think he's an incredible writer and director. I love his style. I mean, so basically I'm excited to see anything from him, and I think this sounds like a lot of fun. I'm excited that he's doing something musical again, because he obviously had a great strength for that in Whiplash, and I love me some Gosling and Stone. So that's my number 2.
They're a great combination. I just know very little about this movie, so it did not crack my list at all, but the credentials behind it are certainly appealing.
Yeah, it's pretty much solely from my excitement about Whiplash. I just really like what he did, and that makes me very excited for what this could possibly turn out to be.
And you said it's a musical, singing the whole time?
I don't know. I think there's going to be music in it. I'm not sure exactly what form that will take.
Oh, J.K. Simmons is back in this one. Perfect.
Yeah. Maybe he'll rack up another Oscar. I mean, it's also being released in Oscar season, award season. So that suggests something as well.
Very true.
So,
all right, my number 1 now. We're on to our number 1s.
Number 1.
Yep.
Number 1. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. That's my number 1.
Rogue One.
Woo-hoo.
Jeff's number 1.
Yeah, the reason I didn't participate with Kyle's number 2 is because this is my number 1. I am super excited for this movie. This movie is doing all the things that I've been waiting to see with Star Wars for forever. It is something non-linear. It is taking a look at characters that are outside of the main cast. It is bringing in completely new characters to share a side story of what's going on in the Star Wars universe. This is the first one, as Michael noted, this is the first one that we're going to see like this. I am thrilled. I am excited. I think the fact that they've come out and they've said there's no Jedis in this movie. It is very much a military-esque type story. That excites me. Not that I dislike Jedis by any means, but I want to see this kind of a Star Wars movie. I think that this can be fantastic. It can really launch into a new direction with what we're going to see out of Disney in putting together all of these films. I'm just pumped. I am pumped beyond belief. I think that the cast looks really interesting. Felicity Jones is a personal favorite of mine. I think that she's been great in pretty much everything I've seen her in. You've got Forrest Whitaker's got a big role. Forrest Whitaker is almost always good. Alan Tudyk's in this. You've got you're bringing Mon Mothma back as a very specific character from the Star Wars universe that I think is going to be really interesting on screen. I think that this is also really fun and interesting because Disney's doing a lot with both Episode 7 as well as this movie and throwing female leads out there, which I think is great for the industry to see the power of these actresses and the great things that they can do when handed the reins of a big movie like this. Just everything about this excites me.
Yeah, is that just the new kind of archetype for these big tent poles, like a young British female lead who's kind of rugged and skillful?
I think it works.
Maybe. I mean, I agree with Kyle. I think it certainly works. I don't want to necessarily say it's a new archetype in the way that they're going to be doing these things going forward, because I think we're going to see some really interesting movies with other female leads going down the road. I just the other day I was texting you guys about how Scarlett Johansson, I know there's a lot of controversy about her being in Ghost in the Shell and because she's not Japanese, but I think that regardless of that angle that a lot of people are upset about, I think she could be fantastic leading in that movie. So I don't know that that's going to be the archetype, but to Kyle's point, it certainly works, and I'm happy to see these great female actors get these opportunities.
Yeah, she's great. Felicity Jones, great.
Yeah, I wasn't super stoked from the trailer, but I gave it another shot, and she's growing on me. I haven't seen her in anything else. I need to watch more Felicity movies.
Her greatest role is probably The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
So dig that one up.
Who was she in that? She was not in that.
She was in that.
She was in that very briefly, but she was.
Did she die? She died pretty fast.
She stole the show.
She was in the theory. She was in the theory of everything, which that movie, I was iffy on that movie. I didn't really love that movie, but I loved her in that movie. I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think she carried that movie in many ways. That's the big one in the back of my mind. But I know I've seen her in a lot of other stuff. She
hooks up with Daredevil in that movie.
Okay.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Charlie Cox.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, my number one is The Nice Guys. So you guys already talked about it. It is my most anticipated movie of the year. So a little bit of a, anticlimax there. So Kyle, your number one.
My number one is none other than Jason Bourne. Matt Damon playing the role he was born to play. Mr. Bourne himself. He is brilliant.
He's just the same as he is in every other movie.
Hold on, was that an intentional pun?
Bourne. Yeah, no.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Don't pretend like you just noticed that. You've been waiting for this. You scripted that.
He said he wasn't gonna. He said he wasn't gonna come back and do the role unless Greengrass came back. Greengrass said the same thing about him. I think they wouldn't come back for just any old story or any old shoot 'em up, I don't know who I am type of thing. I think it's gonna be a great original story. I can't wait to see the supporting cast and how they play into it. Alicia Vikander is gonna be awesome. She's brilliant in all the things I've seen her in.
Everything.
The things I've seen her in, such as Man from U.N.C.L.E. and That's the Only Thing. But she's great in the other stuff, I'm sure, because she won an Academy Award. Tommy Lee Jones, come on, he's awesome. He's the quintessential good guy chasing the bad guy who's not really a bad guy. I'm talking about Fugitive, U.S. Marshals. He's gonna be great, and a few of the others. Julia Stiles coming back. Whew.
I do like Julia Stiles in these movies. I think her character is great, and so it'll be fun.
And I hope she gets more of a role. I really do. The trailer got me. It's just a good flavor, a good taste that he's just bare knuckle fighting. He doesn't have gadgets, and of course he's going to use some prop to beat the tar out of somebody. In every movie it's something, and I love those scenes. In this one it looks like it'll be a chair leg or a balsa wood chair from what it looks like. I'm stoked, guys. Jason Bourne, let's do this.
So I got a hot take for you guys.
I don't like your hot takes, Michael. Keep your hot takes.
I enjoy Jeremy Renner more than Matt Damon. I don't think Bourne Legacy's better. I don't think it's a better movie. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it for today's episode. We'll just we'll round it out there.
Yeah, we'll be concluding.
No. This is going to be a future episode because we're going to do Bourne Identity for sure. But I have some reservations and some hangups with this whole series and how they've approached it. I love me some Damon. You guys know that. But I like Jeremy Renner a little bit better, I think. And I would have preferred to have seen them really pass the torch and given him a full shot at this franchise. I think
a second movie.
That would have been more exciting.
He's getting a sequel.
Is he in this one? Is he in Jason
He's
Bourne?
not in this one, but he's getting a sequel.
Well, we'll see. They shafted him, and that just doesn't sit with me.
I don't know that they shafted him. I didn't think he was great.
It wasn't as good as the worst Bourne.
I didn't think he was great in the last movie. I don't think Jeremy Renner's
the movie was weak. That wasn't his fault. I don't know if he's as good as
his billing is either, personally.
That's not his character, man. He's not a Bourne. He's not a... No. We just watched The Town, and he was great in that. I think he's more Jeff, of that type of character.
Let me ask you a question. Who do you think you are? Huh? Who do you think
there it
you
is. Are? That's Jeremy Renner.
You grew up in this town. Same roles that I did. He was Oscar nominated for his role in The Town. And
he plays a better bad guy.
he's amazing.
I didn't say he's a bad actor. I just said I don't
That
think
he's
he's as great as
overrated.
his billing. I think he's overhyped. He's been good. And he's been good in a couple things, and he's been in a few other things where I think he's been really mediocre. I thought he was really mediocre in the Avengers, like super.
I like
mediocre.
him in Mission Impossible.
He's amazing in Hurt Locker. He's amazing in Town, and he's
And
underutilized in everything else. He should have been. There should be more Hawkeye. There should be a Netflix Hawkeye series. He should have taken over Mission Impossible. He was amazing in Ghost Protocol. He was amazing in Bourne Legacy. Give the man his due. Gotta give Renner his due, man.
So we know who Michael's man crush is on.
Yeah, it's not Gosling anymore.
Well,
it's for sure Renner.
Dude, you put Gosling and Renner in a movie together and it's done. It's game over.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea, Michael. You have a little crush, a little obsession here.
No, I think he's awesome. I don't think he gets enough credit.
Good stuff, guys.
Agree to disagree on that one. But I like those top 5 lists. That was really good. I thought that was a fun conversation regardless.
Yeah.
Would you guys want to give the people something to go into their week with? Let's give everybody a quick recommendation. We're going to go ahead and pitch something to everybody, a book and a movie or TV show that we're currently into and enjoying, and hopefully encourage everybody else to take a look. Kyle, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, let me start with my book recommendation. I'm currently listening to The Goldfinch. It's by Donna Tartt. It is a long, long book that chronicles the life and the journey of a boy, a man. He starts out as a man, and he's in a certain place in his life, and it's very mysterious. You wonder what he's doing there in this location where he is, and I don't want to give anything away because I just want people to go out and give it a shot.
Well, you can say that it's Amsterdam, right? I mean, that's not a secret. That's the very beginning of the book.
Okay, he's in Amsterdam, but you don't know why, and you don't know what he's doing there, and why he's kind of hiding out more or less in a hotel room. And then you go back and get his full backstory. It is so detailed, it is so rich, and it takes some time to get through. But I recommend it. There's great character development. It's a very compelling story, and yeah, The Goldfinch. Next, I'm going to have to do a slight throwback. My wife and I watched The River Wild a few weeks ago. It stars Meryl Streep and Kevin Bacon, and we loved it. We had a blast watching it. It's the 90s, so it's a little older, and it kind of follows our particular script or, a particular pattern, but we had a great time watching it, and it was the first time she had seen it, and she was on the edge of her seat, and I enjoyed that. It's on Amazon. Check it out.
And I unfortunately only watch actresses with more than 4 Oscars, so Meryl Streep doesn't quite
just missed it.
She's not.
She didn't get nominated for this, Michael, if that makes any difference. This was not her best work. It may...
Did you say it was Meryl Streep and Kevin Bacon? It may be
Kevin Bacon's best work. He kind of went downhill after this one. He's...
better than A Few Good Men?
Well, this came after A Few Good Men, so yes. No, he's not better than this.
All right, well, my book, I'm actually partway through a series, so I'm going to start off recommending the entire series. That is the Mistborn books by Brandon Sanderson, one of my favorite fantasy authors. I think that he's fantastic. He has a great way of telling a story and incorporating interesting magic systems into his universe. The Mistborn universe is one where the characters ingest particles or shavings from different metals, and then internally within their bodies, they're able to burn those metals and gain extra abilities that let them do really cool and interesting stuff. It sounds a little goofy, but I promise you, if you pick up the books and you start digging into them, it's actually really fascinating. And the things that he's able to do to create additional conflict and a variety of experiences for these people is really, really great. He's actually in his second series of the Mistborn genre, I guess you could call it. It's not really a genre, but there's a trilogy that starts this whole thing off that takes place kind of in a Lord of the Rings type world that is a little bit more medieval in nature. And then this second iteration takes place in a kind of Western society. So think cowboys and Indians sort of deal. That's the time frame that it's taking place in. There are plans, from what I understand, for him to also he's going to do a series in modern day and then a series in the future, all within this world of characters, and they all link into each other. And some of the characters from the first trilogy show up in certain ways in the follow-up books. I'm currently in the third book in that second storyline. The book is called The Bands of Mourning. The first two have been really, really good in that as well. It's definitely a different vibe and different feel from what I'm used to in that initial trilogy, which I think is interesting that he's jumping into very different almost genres of storytelling as he goes through these different timelines. But highly recommend those. Highly recommend Brandon Sanderson books, period. But these are really good and really fascinating if you haven't picked them up. For me, a TV show that I'm going to recommend as well is Madam Secretary. This is one that my wife and I have been enjoying heavily since it started last year. We're in season 2 right now. This show's just good. The writing is really solid. The characters are extremely likable. The conflict that they deal with, Téa Leoni is the Secretary of State. In episode 1, she gets called in because the previous Secretary of State has died. Her former boss in the CIA goes to her and asks her to come in as the Secretary of State, and she leaves her cushy professor job at University of Virginia, I think it is, and steps into the role and then has to deal with these insane and very complicated state matters and avoiding wars and threatening war and all this other stuff. And she is rock solid. Her husband essentially plays a spy professor as well. It sounds a little hokey and different, but I promise you it is very real, and it's extremely well done, and you will just love these characters. So highly recommend that one. Madam Secretary.
I love Téa Leoni. She's
cool.
Great.
I think I've only seen her in one other thing, The Family Man. Nick Cage.
She's awesome in that. She's in a lot of stuff. She's really good. Are they going to make Mistborn movies, Jeff? Have you heard anything?
They should.
It's the long-going rumor that there's something happening on the front, but I don't think there's anything. There's certainly nothing.
I think Daisy Ridley should be the star.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm all for it.
That's what I'm pitching in Hollywood. Daisy Ridley, Mistborn.
All right, Michael, you round us out and wrap us up.
Okay, so one thing that I'll recommend on the reading side is a comic series that's ongoing right now. It's an 8-issue miniseries. I think the 6th issue comes out this Wednesday. So go to your local comic store and pick these up. It's called American Alien. It's Superman, written by Max Landis. Do you guys know who that is?
I do.
Yeah, so Max Landis, he wrote Chronicle. He wrote American Ultra, which came out, I think, late last year. He wrote Victor Frankenstein. He wrote a movie that's coming out right now called Mr. Right. He's kind of a big deal, I guess, and he's a very animated and vocal screenwriter and has just sold a bunch of scripts. He sold a pretty exciting script to Netflix not too long ago with David Ayer attached to direct. Anyway, so this is his Superman series. It's 8 issues, and each issue is a standalone short story taken from a different part of Superman's life. And it is my favorite portrayal of Superman in any medium that I've ever seen or read. And I think it is so good that it will make a believer even out of you, Jeff, who hates Superman. And I recommend this now, as Superman kind of didn't quite get his due last month with Batman v Superman. And so I think this is a much more compelling version of the character, and it's a lot of fun. So really excited about that. I think everybody should go and support that. The TV show that I'm going to recommend is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Have you guys watched that at all?
I've heard of this. I have not watched it, though.
This, I think, is the funniest thing on TV right now. It is definitely going to be an Emmy contender. It is an incredible show. It is so funny. It's so just interesting the way they've done it. It's a musical as well, and has just so much truth in it. It's a very deep show as far as how it portrays relationships and how it portrays just emotion. It's so much fun to watch, but you just really care about all these characters, and the songs are hilarious and great. So everyone should be watching.
How do you watch it?
It's a CW show. I watch it on Hulu.
All right. I have to check it out. Who's in it?
I don't think they're famous yet.
Rachel Bloom.
She will be.
Yeah.
Is she British?
She recently just won a Golden Globe, I think, for her performance in it. She stars in it, but she also writes and I think created it too, or co-created it or something like that. But yeah, she's amazing. Everybody in the show is amazing. The show is amazing. Now that I've hyped it up, it cannot possibly stand up to your expectations. But I think everybody should give it a shot.
Hey, well, at least it's not written by anybody involved with the DC universe, and so we know it actually has the potential to be any good. So with that, we'll say good night, everybody. Good night.
We are.
Oh my gosh, that was so inappropriate.
Hey, you did it to him last time.